All right. Hello, everyone. We are live. Let me make sure I can see myself on YouTube because StreamYard broadcasts to YouTube. Okay. Let me go to my channel. All right. Yep. We are live. I I originally set this for noon. I know some folks are probably still working, but the my condo association is sending over a technician to do something with the insulation in here. So it's heating up here in the DMV. So you don't want to you want to make sure your HVAC is working the way it's supposed to be working. So we're going a little early here. I intend to go for about an hour. I'm going to do some reading for you guys because we're going to catch up on the latest Michigan football news. And then I'm going to wrap up. It's been a while since I did some Michigan content here. I've done some things for my book. I did interviews with Jason Rowe and Tim Wynn. I appreciate those of you who supported that. That's a little bit off the path, but it's promotion for my book. And but today we're going to talk some Michigan football because I know a good chunk, even though I'm trying to grow out a basketball crowd a little bit, I know the bedrock of this channel, the content that got me to 1,000 subscribers and beyond, it's the Michigan football crowd. It's the Michigan football and probably a little bit of uh, the Ohio State fan base. I think they helped elevate the channel, and maybe fans from some of the other fan bases as well. I'm gonna make an announcement over on my original channel. In case anyone over there wants to hear what I'm talking about over here, give me a second. Then I'm going to play the intro, and then I will jump into what we're going to talk about today, which is the latest Michigan football news. Okay. Whoever's watching, feel free to shout yourselves out in the chat. Let me know who you are. Let's see. Please hit that like button. Every little bit of engagement helps. You can give me a thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs down. Any engagement is good engagement when you are a blogger and a YouTube content creator. Okay. All right. So that announcement was made. I see I have another like there. Thank you to whoever did that. So I'm going to play the intro. I'm going to go back to my channel so I can watch all the data trickle in at one time, or should I say in real time. And then on the other side of the intro, we will start because I have a couple of pieces that I want to read. So I'll see you guys on the other side of the intro. Please shout yourselves out in the chat. Let me know who you are. And feel free to comment on anything that I am saying today. I have a super chat over here. I realize every crowd on every channel is different, right? Um, um, your subscriptions and your likes and your dislikes are more than enough payment. But if you feel compelled to super chat me, or if you want a Cash App or PayPal me, the super chat is live and my Cash App and PayPal are here. All right. I'll see you guys on the other side of the intro. Turn my speaker on so I can hear it. All right, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like this stream, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. You know, YouTube is funny because my subscriber count here was holding at 1,090, and the subscriber count sometimes it I don't know if that's the algorithm, and I don't know if that's YouTube doing what it does, but people will either unsubscribe and resubscribe, or the YouTube algorithm is doing all of that, because all of this is running on technology. And I've heard that YouTube unsubs people, and then it doesn't always send the notifications around when you go live. Oh, that's the other thing. If you're subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell across my channels. Some subs have said I never get the notification when you go live. So if you're subscribed, please hit that notification button. All right, let me adjust this for a second so you can see everything on my shirt. This is one of my favorite Michigan football shirts. I have some new shirts, but I have a collection of old shirts from when I was at the university. So this shirt's a little older, but this is one of my favorites. Michigan Wolverines 1817. All right. Before I jump into the latest Michigan football news, a few housekeeping items, a little bit of advertising. I'm getting ready to send out my first newsletter for the Big Words LLC. This is the Big Words LLC newsletter. There's a link in the description box. There's a greeting here, and then there's a subscription button at the bottom there. All you do is click that, enter in your email address, and I promise I won't give your information away to a third party, but this will allow you to follow me as not only a YouTube content creator, but also as a writer. And as most of you know, you're probably tired of hearing me say it, I'm working on a book, which is the next item I'm going to show you all, especially for the news people. Not the news people, for the new people. I got to slow down sometimes. All right. So my book project is here. The link is in the description box below. It's called The Engineers, a Western New York Basketball Story. And this page is on my writer's blog, Big Words Authors. Okay, so if you're interested in hearing about the book, it's a sports-related book. It's about what sports teaches you about life as a young person. Me and another gentleman, we were talking about something else last night on my original channel, and that principle came up, what sports teaches you about life and what those early mentors and coaches teach you at an early age, and how those lessons can help you later on in life. That's essentially what the book is about. But it's a narrative story. It's a real life story involving real people. Some names have been changed. Some people have agreed to be mentioned. But I'm just going to scroll through really, really quickly. If you want to read about it, there's a book description. There's a little bit about me. There's a discussion of part 1 there. There's a discussion of part 2. That is one of the main characters in the book, Dr. Kenneth Leon Jones. If you look back in my library, I did 2 videos on Coach Jones, and more are on the way. Those are some quotes that he used to tell us. And then at the bottom, there's promotional content. There's a multitude of videos that I've, two of which I just described to you. These 2 are about Coach Jones. This is a poem Coach Jones wrote about me. And then these are other promotional videos from my original channel, I believe. That's my interview with Jason Rowe and Tim Wynn. I interviewed them on this channel. within the last month or two. And these are all interviews and essays here at the bottom. Now, the cool thing, and I'm going to get through this really quickly because I know you guys want to hear about Jimbo and the Wolverines. I've enabled a comment section at the bottom of this page here. So if you read through this and you want to give some sort of reaction, Dr. Dunbar, this looks cool. Dr. Dunbar, this is crap. It's never going to sell. Whatever. YouTubing and blogging is about engagement and interaction. So if you want to leave a comment at the bottom, you can leave a comment. And please do. Please do. And I want to thank everyone who has supported this part of my content thus far, especially guys like Ashwin and guys who have watched, I think, Yakov 22, people who've watched some of the promotional content for this project, those who have supported the LaSalle basketball related stuff. Thank you very much. I'm going to drop these 2 links in the chat in case anyone watching on the playback or anyone watching live wants to check these out. So that's my newsletter and that is my book project. So I'm going to stop this. Newsletter there. And book project there. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening in Ann Arbor with our football team. There's a lot to, my smartphone gets all these articles, so I had to kind of go through and see, okay, what do I want to cover in this live stream? And I'll probably do another one this weekend or maybe Monday because I'm not going to try to squeeze everything into one live stream. But it's a busy time in college football, even in the off season. And if there's been a dust up involving Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, and I think Deion Sanders. And it's all involving the NIL, and it's all involving programs paying recruits to come. And over on Twitter, there's been a war of words between Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher. And there was an article that I have. I'm not going to read it, but Hunter Dickinson from the basketball team stated that Michigan needs to do a better job, or Michigan needs to get involved in the NIL program. I think right now they're choosing not to get involved because it's going to involve paying players and money transferring hands, or money being transferred from hand to hand. And Michigan prides itself on doing things the right way. But that's a big story that's happening now in all of college football. Nick Saban's and some kind of dust up with Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, and Deion Sanders, who's at Jackson State, which is an HBCU. He got involved somehow because I think Nick Saban said they paid $1 million to a player. So there's a lot going on right now. But anyway, what's happening in Ann Arbor? I thought I would start with the draft because I don't think I covered the draft, and I just wanted to say a few words about where our notable players from the draft went. Where our notable players went in the draft. Okay. Let me see. 2022. Trying to find it. Oh, here we go. Now, what's interesting about this is that, as you know, Jim has sent, since he took over, he sent numerous players to the NFL. And this last year was the first year Jim won the Big Ten. Some college football fans feel as though the mark of a good program are, number one, the national titles, and number two, the amount of players the programs send to the NFL. Not the number of players who graduate, not the number of players who get their diplomas and go on to have careers beyond football, but many believe that the mark of a good program is the national titles and the number of players who go to the NFL. So this reads as follows. 2022 NFL draft, where every Michigan player was selected. And you could see by the picture there, I think that's Andrew Stuber. He went to the Patriots. David Ojabo went to the Ravens. We know Aiden went to the Lions. Dax Hill went to the Bengals. And it looks like Hassan Haskins went to the Titans. But let's read about it. And this is written by Josh Henschke, the Maize and Blue Review. Michigan once again had a memorable haul of draft prospects selected in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Wolverines sent 5 players to the league, including 1 player in the first 5 picks of the first round. I don't know if that's ever happened for Michigan to have a player go in the top 5. Under Jim Harbaugh. Okay. Aiden Hutchinson went number 2 overall to the Detroit Lions. The defensive end prospect with can't miss combination of football character, skill, and physical traits, who was more likely to contend for occasional Pro Bowls than become an all-pro playmaker. Hutchinson's strength and flexion allows him to drop a deep anchor and set a very firm edge, and that is unlikely to change as a pro, whether he's used in a 4-3 or 3-4 fronts. He can be too mechanical, engaging in cursory contact rather than using his hands to whip the man in front of him quickly. Hutchinson is an instinctive rusher, assailing the pocket with a nonstop barrage of activity. His hands are skilled and efficient to grease the edge while fluid counter steps open inside paths to the pocket. He needs to add a few more items to his rush menu in order to maintain his rush production against NFL tackles. Hutchinson is a scheme versatile and should be a very good starter with a very high floor, but his ceiling might not be as elevated as some of the talent he's compared to. Okay, I'm not going to read this entire thing. I'm just going to go over where the players went, and then I'll wrap this portion of this stream up. Some people, I was out walking earlier, and I was thinking, being in graduate school at the University of Michigan, that was also the Detroit Lions market as well. And we know that the Lions, over the years, they've drafted well. They've brought in some good players, but they've never been able to put together competitive teams over a series of years. So they've drafted a lot of top players like Ndamukong Suh and Matthew Stafford, to name a few, but those players, they reach a ceiling, the team reaches a ceiling, and then those players go and win elsewhere. I think Ndamukong Suh won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, and we know that this past year Matthew Stafford won the Super Bowl with the LA Rams. So what will happen to Aiden? Will he plateau there and have to go someplace else, or will he be a part of the building of the Lions into a legitimate contender? We'll see. Okay, Daxton Hill was taken number 31 overall. He went to the Cincinnati Bengals. And this article is below in case anyone wants to read it. David Ojabo, who was arguably Aiden Hutchinson's wingman, he went 45th overall to the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to miss those two guys. Hassan Haskins went 131 overall. He went to the Tennessee Titans. We're going to miss him on offense. Hassan Haskins arguably won some of those tough games on our opponents' fields. I'm thinking about Wisconsin and Nebraska. Hassan Haskins in those games literally willed our team to victory. So we're going to miss him. He was a bell cow, as Johnny Olin called him. Andrew Stuber went 245th overall to the New England Patriots. Okay, so we're gonna miss. Well, the offensive line might just keep clicking. I think as the I think 3 out of those 5 guys are back. So those were the Wolverines who were drafted. Now I received another article, and this is also significant because, as I'll describe, the prediction is that the offense is going to carry the team this upcoming season. So you lose all these veterans on defense. Now what's going to happen with the defense? We're arguably going to see a lot of shootouts this season. NC Worker is stopping through. NC Worker, thank you for being here. Thank you for shouting yourself out. So I am going to read the next article because it's short, and it involves Vincent Gray. Those of us in the Michigan fan base, we know about Vincent Gray because he was arguably he received a lot of attention during the shortened COVID season. Let's see, Wolverines Wire. Let me find it. Let's see. There it is. Vincent Gray got exploited and beat up during that COVID-19 season. Ambry Thomas and some of the other guys graduated. No, they didn't graduate. They opted for the NFL draft. They didn't come back. And younger guys like Vincent Gray were thrust into those starting positions. And quarterbacks like Rocky Lombardi, then of Michigan State, and Graham Mertz, and I think it was Graham Mertz, or maybe it was Jack Cohn at Wisconsin, and Sean Clifford at Penn State. They looked at Vincent Gray over and over and over again because Don Brown's defense left those corners on islands, so they had to defend one-on-one. So after getting beat up for that year, I think Vincent learned some things, and then Mike McDonald came in and ran a bunch of schemes. So he had a much better year in 2021 than he had in 2022. But I don't think he was taken off the draft board. So this reads as follows. Vincent Gray signs undrafted free agent deal. The former 2018 three-star recruit from Rochester, Michigan, has agreed to an undrafted free agent deal with the New Orleans Saints. Gray was a 3-time letterman at Michigan who played in 35 career games, including 21 starts. Gray was an all Big Ten honoree this past season. Gray went from being streaky at best during the 2022 season at Michigan. During the 2020 season at Michigan, to becoming a solid starting cornerback in 2021. During this past season, Gray had 46 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. While Gray never recorded an interception at Michigan, he had a career high 7 pass breakups this past year. Gray did a good job at being in position to make a play on the ball. That was a huge improvement from 2 years ago when he was beaten one-on-one multiple times. Gray should have a shot at making the team if his play continues to soar as it did last year. Okay, and this tweet was from Jordan Schultz. Michigan quarterback Vincent Gray signing a UDFA with the hashtag Saints per source. 6'2", the 6'2", 192-pound corner heads to New Orleans. Okay, so that's that one. Okay. So I'm going to close these as I go through them so as not to confuse myself. So this one, in the offseason, you have predictions about the preseason top 25, and you also have predictions about how the teams are going to do. I'm going to get to that, but this next article is from USA Today, and this is where, or this involves where Michigan is ranked in the preseason. So this reads as follows. This is from Yahoo Sports, and it reads, it's entitled, Where USA Today Sports Has Michigan Football Ranked. Okay. And as we all know, rankings are fun, rankings are cool, but until you get out and actually play the games, they're just rankings. And I think this past year we proved that, because I think going into the season we were unranked, and the team, it gradually got in the top 25, and it just steadily moved its way up, 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 and up. So you never know what's going to happen until you play the games. We are at a little standstill with college football news now that the spring practices and the spring game have concluded. The only real news trickling in are possible players entering the transfer portal, speculation on the depth charts, and the good old name, image, and likeness saga. I talked about that in the opening. On the Michigan landscape of things, there have been a few players to transfer out since the spring game happened, like Jack Stewart and Jordan Morant, but the team has pretty much stayed intact. Now, also remember, we started this year with controversy with Jim testing the NFL waters. Dre Ellerby, what's going on, man? Thank you for stopping through. Please let me know what you think about any of this as I go through it. I know this is the lunchtime hour on a Friday, so folks probably don't have time to watch this live, but if you're watching on the playback, definitely leave comments in the comments section. Let's see. Thankfully, media outlets create some talking points for college football fanatics. Eric Smith, who wrote the article, ranks the Wolverines number 7 in the preseason poll, which is one spot higher than he had them in his previous poll. Here's what Smith had to say about the Maize in Blue. Dre, I'm just doing a stream on the latest Michigan football news. So shout out to Johnny Olden. I might borrow his format, and I might solicit you guys for questions on my community tab and just do a stream on your questions. And if Johnny's open to it, maybe I'll have him, maybe I'll ask him to come back over the summertime before the season kicks off to see what he thinks about all of this. That's if he's open to coming back. So we'll see. There was a time in February where it seemed the Wolverines would need a new coach with Jim Harbaugh's public flirtation with the Minnesota Vikings. With that door closed, Michigan is full steam ahead on trying to follow up on its playoff appearance with another run at the Big Ten title. Cade McNamara was the starter at quarterback, but faces competition from J.J. McCarthy. Wide receiver Ronnie Bell went down in the opener and is expected to be healthy and team with Andrew Anthony and Cornelius Johnson to give the offense 3 quality receivers. There were wholesale losses on defense, including coordinator Mike McDonald. Whether that group can again be one of the best in the country will determine how the season evolves. Yeah, if the offense is predicted to put up a lot of points. We have a veteran quarterback, starting again. We have a phenom pushing him for the job. We have depth at the wide receiver position. We have speed at running back. 2 quality tight ends who can block and catch. We have the majority of our offensive line back, but the question is going to be, can we generate stops on defense with what we've lost? Dre says, I think we will be a better program due to Don Brown not being there, of course. The talent that Jim has brought in has been good, and the development is better. Yep. Shout out to Johnny Olden once again. Michigan has talent. All right. 10 takeaways from the Michigan football spring game. Okay. That's a separate article. I'm not going to read that, but that's where at that particular time on, okay, let me read this. Smith had 6 Big Ten teams ranked in his top 25 poll, with Ohio State leading the way, ranked number 3. So that's that article. So at that point, Michigan, we're kind of ranked at the bottom of the top 10. Okay. Dre says, I think the defense will be better than last season due to Clint Scales being the passing game coordinator, and with Mike Alston being the run game coordinator. Yeah, Dre, sometimes you get surprised. Sometimes you lose veteran talent, and the young guys come in and they just pick up like nothing happened. They just take right off. They accept the challenge, and they just perform above expectations. So let's see what the defense does. Okay, so I'm going to close that one. If you haven't, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, especially if the algorithm has brought you here for the first time. So I'm going to close this one. Okay. I'm going to read this one. Predicting Michigan's 2022 starting offense. And I'll probably need to do something just on the defense as well. But again, I had like 10 articles, and I had to figure out which ones I would present here. And these are just the ones I chose to present here. So I'll present the other ones in a separate stream. So this is going to focus on the offense. Now, we also know, Dre, which quarterback do you want? Do you want Cade as starter again, or do you want JJ? We know that JJ's been hurt. So JJ and that shoulder, at least to start the season, may have taken him out of the running to be the starter. But Dre or anyone else there, let me know which quarterback you want. The grizzled old veteran or the young phenom. So this is entitled Predicting Michigan's 2022 Starting Offense. The Wolverines return 8 of 11 starters on this side of the ball. The 2022 Michigan offense will look very familiar to the 2021 unit, with only 3 starters departing the program. Fortunately for the Wolverines, each one of the departed starters, Hassan Haskins, Andrew Stuber, and Andrew Vastardis, played at a position that is at a premium for Michigan in terms of depth and talent. Now, that's interesting because, again, Hassan was a I feel a sneeze coming on. Hold on. Okay, it went away. Hassan was a bell cow, as Johnny Olden calls him, and I think Hassan Haskins really willed our team to victory with his legs last season. I'm thinking about the Wisconsin game, and I'm thinking about the Nebraska game, where he just churned out those yards. Now, the offensive line had a lot to do with that, but now we're going to have 2 speedy and versatile running backs. So if we need those hard yards, will we have a running back for that? Or will we even need a running back for that based upon what the predictions are, because it sounds like we're going to have a speed in space, greatest show on turf type of offense. Dre says, I will take Cade due to bigger wide receivers and Bell being back. But if he's not putting up 250 yards passing with 3 TDs, then I think it's time to put JJ in. Yeah. He says, if we start JJ, we do not need to have him in the running game, but more like what LSU did with Joe Burrow. Okay. Yeah. So the knocks, hearing Devin Gardner's voice with Sam Webb. The good thing about Cade last season is he did not turn the ball over. The criticism was he wasn't making the NFL throws. He wasn't throwing the wide receivers open. And instead of throwing, for example, I'll call them fade routes and stride, the wide receivers had to come back and get the ball. So can he take that next step and make more of the NFL throws, especially with us potentially not having the defense we had last season? And then he showed some mobility. We know that JJ has more. So anyway, this reads as follows. However, there will still be battles at key positions, including quarterback, with the continued rise of J.J. McCarthy, and wide receiver, with the return of Ronnie Bell and emerging star Andrew Anthony further settling into his own. With that said, here is the way too early but 91% accurate offensive depth chart prediction for the start of the 2022 season. Yeah, Jim and the coaching staff need to keep our top wide receivers off the punting unit. So I hope they learned something from Ronnie Bell's injury last season. But then again, if Ronnie Bell was healthy, Ronnie Bell getting hurt probably forced the evolution. It probably forced us to churn those yards out on the ground early, and then it forced the passing game to evolve. So sometimes there are blessings in misfortunes. Quarterback, Cade McNamara. To quote Ric Flair, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Will J.J. McCarthy be able to stay healthy long enough to unseat the Big Ten winning quarterback in fall camp? A shoulder injury suffered in the spring delayed this battle. So for now, the nod for the opener has to be Cade McNamara. If you haven't, I did a pre-record on the quarterback battle. Please go take a look at that. Give it a like. Maybe give it a like. Give it a comment. Leave it a comment. Whatever. Give it a like or a dislike. Whatever. Any engagement is good. Running back, Blake Corum. Much like last year, this is more of a 1A and 1B position. Last year, it was Haskins and Corum. This year, it's Corum and Donovan Edwards. The only difference for Corum is that Blake Corum is now A. Okay, I think that's what that BC stands for. And we also know Donovan Edwards can throw the ball. So there are a couple of gadget plays in the playbook that they can go to. And Donovan Edwards played a huge role in us putting points on the board in the Big Ten championship game against Iowa. Because if you recall, our offense struggled against Iowa. And I think Donovan Edwards threw a halfback pass. It might have been to Andrew Anthony or Roman Wilson, but that put us up. And Iowa was offensively challenged, so they had a hard time coming back. So he can run and he can throw, and he can catch. So look for a Marshall Faulk trunk candidate. Those of you who watched the early 2000s St. Louis Rams know that they had two speedy, versatile running backs back there behind Kurt Warner. So look for that type of thing. Wide receiver Ronnie Bell, he's back. Wide receiver Cornelius Johnson, Michigan's leading receiver from a year ago, has still never quite reached his potential. CJ has all the tools necessary to be a star, but has struggled at times with separation and drops. If he puts it all together, he could lead the team in receiving yards again. If he continues to struggle, Andrew Anthony could usurp him in the fall. Wide receiver AJ Henning / Roman Wilson. This position is all about personnel and play calling. Henning is always dangerous with the ball in his hands. And head coach Jim Harbaugh has alluded to using him like Deebo Samuel this year. Hopefully he doesn't become as disgruntled as the 49er star playing wide receiver and running back. Roman Wilson is the team's deep threat and an absolute burner down the field. Wilson is also the more sure-handed of the two receivers and better at gaining separation. Also look out for freshman Darius Clemens. He had a big catch in the spring game that Ronnie Bell went nuts over. They all swarmed him in the end zone. So also watch out for Darius Clemens. Dre, keep commenting there in the chat. You're carrying the chat for this stream. Tight end Eric All, a lock, All and the number 2 tight end Luke Schoonmaker comprise the most complete tight end duo in the Big Ten. I think we're solid there. Left tackle Ryan Hayes, left guard Trevor Keegan. The center is Olu Watimi. Sophomore Greg Crippen. Sophomore Greg Crippen will prevent Olu Watimi from coasting, but the Virginia transfer was a Remington Award finalist last year and is the most talented center at Michigan since Cesar Ruiz. Right guard Zach Zinter, lock. Right tackle Trent Jones. Jones and Carson Barnhart will battle for this position until the first snap of the season. But from all indications in the spring, it is now Jones's job to lose. While both will have a role this season, but Jones will be the starter against Colorado State. Okay, so those are the predictions for our offensive starters. As we know, you can never fully predict injuries, and you never know when one guy is just going to beat out the other. So these things can change the closer we get to the Colorado State game. And I'm going to take a look at the schedule before I end this stream, because there were some predictions on Twitter about Michigan's win total and about how the season is going to unfold. If you're just coming in, please hit the like button. I realize this is the lunchtime hour on a Friday. I did start a little bit earlier because I have a technician coming to my condo unit to do something with the insulation. So I wanted to give myself enough time to get through all of this. So please hit that like button if you're just coming in. And thank you, Dre, for your participation in the chat. I appreciate that. Live streams are better when they are interactive. Okay. So this final article involves the defense, and I'll probably do a stream on this, just looking at the projections for our young defense. So this is entitled, Mike Morris hopes to become an all-around monster with bigger role at Michigan. Okay. Let me close this because it's distracting me. All right. Mike Morris is among the most popular candidates for a breakout season with Michigan football in 2022. After a season backing up Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo, The senior has become the veteran leader on the Wolverines defensive line. Even Jim Harbaugh has set expectations high for Morris, saying in March that he could be the next Aiden Hutchinson or Ojabo. Okay, guys, give me a second. This page has become unresponsive. Give me a second here. All right, guys, I'm gonna read Dre's comment here. He says, if Ronnie Bell was healthy last season, I think Cade could have had over 3,000 passing yards with more TDs. Hold on, guys. I'm getting my little antenna insignia there. I have my hard connection, but it's showing me the remote connection with just one bar. Give me 1 second here. I like to wait until this goes away. And if you're among those watching, please leave your comments and questions there in the chat. This is more fun when it's a little more interactive. And I want to thank Dre for all of his comments. Let's see. Guys, I'm just waiting for this signal to go away. Let me know if you can still hear me. If let me know if I'm still coming through clear out there on your end. You could say yes, no, give a thumbs up. Can you guys still hear me clearly out there? Okay, thanks, Dre. Give me 1 second. Well, more than 1 second. All right, guys, I'm back. Thank you, Dre, for letting me know that you can still hear me over on the YouTube side. All right. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right. This page froze. Give me a second. Let me go back. Okay. Mike Morris is among the most popular candidates for a breakout season with Michigan football in 2022. After a season backing up Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo, the senior has become the veteran leader on the Wolverines' defensive line. Even Jim Harbaugh has set expectations high for Morris, saying in March that he could be the next Aiden Hutchinson or Ojabo. Morris isn't looking to fill Hutchinson's shoes. No one can fill Aiden's shoes, he explained, but is eager for an expanded role on the defense. Now, Aiden, it's worth noting that Aiden did have his critics, and some folks thought the kid from Alabama was better than Aiden. So everyone wasn't sold on Aiden. So for what that's worth, I really didn't get to do a lot of the stuff I wanted to do because of Aiden Hutch. Moore said this week in the Trenches, a Michigan athletics podcast. I accept every role that I got, and I loved every role that I got because I was able to benefit the team. But I feel like now I can step into more of an edge role in the defense and dominate in that aspect. I'm very looking forward to that. Or maybe that should have been written. I'm looking very forward to that. Here is what else Morris said on In the Trenches. There's an audio. No, there's more text here. Hold on. All right. After the season, we had to all look and realize that the guys that we relied on last year aren't going to be here. They're not going to be on the sideline with us. They're not going to be with us. So a lot of guys had to step up, including myself, with that. We just had to realize that in spring, we attacked it in every single way. We built leadership. We built great team values. Everybody was vocal. Everybody was present. Everybody was starving to be the best player for the team and themselves so we can win another Big Ten championship. On whether it's the same defensive system with Jesse Minter in charge. It kind of is. Yeah, it's a similar. It's a little bit of different in terms. It's a little bit different in terms. This one's written with some errors here. It's a little bit different in terms of it's different, but definitely like the same stuff. I'll say it's the same thing. We're getting the same pieces, but just a little in terms. That's the terms that are changed to help us out. On building on his 2021 performances. It really is. I'm excited. I really didn't get to do a lot of the stuff I wanted to do because of Aiden Hutch. I accepted every role that I got, and I loved every role that I got because I was able to benefit the team. Okay, I feel like I read that already. Okay, I'm going to jump here. This website is doing something funny. This says on what he learned from Hutchinson. There's so much, probably the business aspect of it. He was always making sure everything was in line so he could be the best player he could be. He was always taking care of his body, stretching a little bit. He even showed me some stretches I could do to help me with my flexibility, eating right. I always talked to him about how he ate, what he ate. Taking care of your body the way he did was something that I learned from him, and just his determination that I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to show you that I'm outworking everybody, and then I'm going to outwork you on the field as well. On what he sees in the younger players on the defensive line. I see a lot of untapped potential, a lot of potential that needs nurturing and needs growth. I see a lot of future amazing players that can be amazing if they're willing to be amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go in the future because the talent is there, the athleticism is there, everything. They have all the tangibles and intangibles. They just need to put it all together, and it will come. Hopefully it will come. On playing Ohio State in Columbus this fall. I think this is the end. No, it's not the end. I'm looking forward to it. The coaches tell us all the time about what it was like when they went down to Columbus. I think it was 2018. What they had at the stadium. They had all kinds of stuff all kinds of very graphic stuff of our players. I'm really looking forward to it because I want to see what we're made of when we go down there. Everyone says it's a hard place to go. I want to see it for myself, and I want to see what we're made of when we go down there and hopefully win. Yeah, the last time a Michigan team won in Columbus, that was 2000 with Drew Henson at the quarterback position. And then I made a video on that. That's in my library. So it's been a while. We just beat them for the first time last year in 20 years. And but it's been longer than that since we've actually won a game down in Columbus. So let's see if we can make that happen this season. So this says on his goals before fall camp, I want to be more flexible. I want to have a physical presence out there. I'm already big. I want to get my lean mass up there, my lean mass higher, flexibility to work on that and become an all-around monster on the field. Like no matter where the coaches put me, I can dominate. All right. That's the last piece I'm going to read. I'm going to close the stream down with a couple of offerings from Twitter. Let's see if I have these queued up. Yep, I have them queued up. So this first one, we all know that Aiden went number 2 to the Lions. CBS ranked, I think, the top coaches in the nation. This was a part of the intro. So I just had that sneeze. So Jim was ranked number 9 in the country in terms of the Power 5 football coaches by CBS Sports. So that's what they think of Jimbo. And then this last one, I think it kind of gets to the Wolverines' win total, or should I say the Wolverines' predicted win total for the 2021 season. So I pulled this one off Twitter. So everyone's picking Ohio State to win the conference. Michigan is predicted to win 9 to 10 games. Ohio State is predicted to win 10 to 11 games. This was created by On3. I don't know if that's an independent content creator or an independent writer, but these are the predictions, and everyone's predicted to finish after our two teams. So, but again, you never know when the injury bug is going to creep in, and you never know who's going to win a battle. You never know. You just never know. You never know who's going to become ineligible. You never know who's going to get caught in a bar fight on a Saturday night. You never know which guy is going to, I'm saying this jokingly, you never know what guy's going to get involved in a domestic struggle with his girlfriend. You just never know. There are so many things outside the lines and inside the lines that can affect how these games turn out. You never know when the refs are going to screw us like they did at Michigan State with the David Ojabo strip sack. I still think that strip sack and the Aiden Hutchinson touchdown would have permanently swung the pendulum in our favor. You just never know what variables are going to affect how these games turn out. I want to thank Dre Ellerby for the Cash App and also for your participation today. Dre, thank you very much. So with those projected win totals, let's just take a quick look at Michigan's 2022 schedule and just go down the line. And a lot of it's gonna, assuming everyone is healthy. Let's see, 2022 Michigan football schedule. The quarterback position is going to be critical. Who's going to play? Is it going to be Cade or JJ? Right now, it looks like it's going to be Cade. And then how's that young defense going to hold up against the Big Ten? Ohio State is they have an axe to grind. They have something to prove. Ohio State has their new defensive coordinator, CJ Stroud. He probably remembers last year's game. He probably remembers Desmond Howard's joke at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Ryan Day probably remembers Jim's comments after the loss, especially regarding, you had 3 players on base, and all you had to do was get one more hit. The cabinet was basically full when you took over the program. So Ohio State's, they've got the game circled. So hopefully Jim and his staff are going to have the team prepped to go down there at the end of November. Okay, so here's the schedule for 2022. Okay, so the schedule. So Colorado State, that's the opener on September 3rd. We have Hawaii the next week. Both are at the Big House. We have Connecticut at the Big House on September 17th. Big Ten play starts with Maryland coming to the Big House. Well, I'm in the DMV, so going to the Big House. The Wolverines go out to Iowa City on October 1st. That's going to be a tough game. It's always hard for our team to go out there and win. They're probably going to have the Big Ten championship game on their minds, so they're going to have something to prove. Let's see. Indiana, our team has to go down to Indiana. That should be a win. Penn State's coming into the Big House. That should be a win on October 15th. Michigan State is coming to the Big House on October 29th. Jim hasn't beaten Mel Tucker yet. We know that he would have won if not for the strip sack that was taken away. We probably would have won that game. Rutgers. The Wolverines are traveling to Piscataway on November 5th. Nebraska's coming to the Big House on November 12th. Illinois is coming to the Big House on November 19th. And then finally, there's the game everyone's going to be looking at on November 26th. The Wolverines go down to the Snake Pit to play Ohio State. And Ohio State, once again, will probably have revenge on their minds. Let's see. Dre says, hopefully Braden McGregor could be something this season. I'm not sure what his position is, Dre. Sounds like he'll be on defense. All right, everyone. It's been about an hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this stream up. Someone's coming by to do some stuff here, and I think that's enough for one stream. So I want to thank Dre for his participation. Also, once again, for the generous Cash App. If anyone wants to donate to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box. They are here. Dre says, I will catch the rest when I get back from walking. Dre, thank you very much. I'm about to wrap up, but my Cash App and PayPal are there in case anyone else wants to donate to the channel. I'm going to do a little bit of advertising once again before I shut down. Please consider joining the Big Words LLC newsletter. This is below in the description box. There is a greeting here. And then the subscription button is there at the bottom. You just click that subscription button and put your email address in. This will allow you to track me and follow me, not just as a YouTube content creator, but also as a writer. I have several platforms both written and in video. Also, my book project, The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story. The link is in the description box below. Please stop by, take a look. This is from my writer's blog, Big Words Authors. And okay, this is from my writer's blog, Big Words Authors. You could read about the book. You can learn about the book. There's a description at the top. There's promotional content on the bottom, video and print, some of which I've posted to my community tab, but also I have enabled a comment section at the bottom. So if you take a look at any of this and you want to leave a comment, YouTubing and blogging is all about engagement and interaction. So you can leave me a comment. No matter what it is, this looks like a cool idea. I can't wait to read it, or I don't think this is going anywhere, or I'm interested in hearing more about it. Feel free to leave a comment. So actually, I welcome it. So with that, I'm going to wrap the stream up. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Please like, share, and subscribe. Go blue. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.